back to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. Jason Balin from Hard Money Bankers, Ian Horowitz from Equity Warehouse, and back in studio, Tom Zeeb from Traction REIA. If you didn't tune in for the first episode that we had Tom on, definitely check it out. He was throwing some really, really good tips and tricks, especially on his 3 negotiation techniques that Ian and I were very intrigued about. So definitely check that out. We want to invite Tom back on to talk about a deal that changed his life. Tom, thanks again for joining us. Maybe just do a quick intro again and then hop in if you have a deal that's maybe a good deal, maybe a bad deal, but a deal that changed your life in some way or the other.
All right, my name is Tom Zeeb. I currently live in Sarasota, Florida, originally from Buffalo, New York, and spent 24 years in Washington, D.C., which is where I started becoming a real estate investor, flipping houses, although it wound up being wholesaling houses. So I tend to flip contracts more than I'll actually rehab and flip. And it radically changed my life, got me out of a corporate job that I felt stuck in and gave me a phenomenal lifestyle.
Awesome. Nice. Awesome. Yeah. So tell us, do you have a deal that changed your life? Again, could be a good deal, could be a bad deal, could be a small deal, could be a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, there are many. Let me choose one. I'll go with the biggest one. My biggest single wholesale fee was $65,188. So without having to do any work on the property, without having to manage any tenants, that was pretty darn life-changing. And the way it came about, I found it by looking for out-of-state absentee owners. But the thing with marketing that I always want to impress upon people is that motivation comes in layers. So your marketing, you market to one type of motivation, but then you'll find out that it's stacked with all these different motivations. So sure, this woman was out of state. That's one level of motivation. But then she was older. Okay, so she's aging out. She wasn't living in the property anymore. She wanted to get rid of it. She was wanting to make sure that her kids were taken care of and that her taxes weren't high on it, and she didn't want to have to deal with it anymore. So they're like all these different layers of motivation piling on. And I can't remember the exact number that we locked it up for. We locked it up in the mid 90,000s, and for a property in suburban DC on the Maryland side of the border, that was pretty darn low. In fact, it was low enough that I could sell it to a rehabber at 70% minus repairs, minus $65,188 that I put in the wholesale fee. Because the way I figure out my wholesale fee is I know what my rehabbers want to buy at, because they tend to be very formulaic. It's 70% minus repairs or 75% minus repairs, depending on the market. They want to buy at that. So if they'll buy at that price all day long, then how much better than that can I negotiate with the seller is how much money I make. And so I've made as little as $3,500 and as much as $65,188 and everything in between. So it's really nice. So I average more in the low 20s, but I'll tell you, $65,188 was a phenomenal deal. It changed my life by showing me what was possible. It also had a number of quirky little oddities to it, such as the buyer had showed proof of funds to me that he had the money, but yet when we were at the settlement, the settlement attorney says, "Oh, hey, I don't have a wire. Where's the money?" He goes, "Oh, I've got to go to the bank," and he sauntered out to go to the bank and didn't come back, which had me in a bit of a mad panic. And we're going, "What's going on?" And then the entirety of the next day came and went, and we couldn't get a hold of him because, of course, he's not answering his cell phone. His voicemail is full. He's not responding to texts. We're being purely ghosted. And I'm going, this is nuts. Maybe the title attorney, the settlement company is getting really mad at me because out-of-state absentee owner, we already have all the paperwork signed from the seller. So this is like going to hell in a handbasket really fast. The third day, the secretary calls me and says, "He's here." Sauntered back in with the money. I ran, got in my car, drove like a bat out of nowhere, and got there. I'm like, what on earth? At that point, I didn't even care. Like, let's get this done. Then I'm going to find out what the heck happened. He had nothing to say. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I went to get the money." He showed up and the money was crazy. Now, I had backup buyers that I could have gone to. I had a plan B and a plan C, but both of those buyers were $30,000 less. Yep. So I had kind of a I had a very motivating reason to sustain a heart attack.
Can't blame you there. You can only run defense so long, but glad that one worked out. I mean, that's wild. Now, you did that deal, $65,000, the biggest wholesale fee. How does it change you going forward? Like, are you like, it's just another $20,000 deal? You're always chasing that high for that next big one? Or was it like, hey, that was the Grand Slam, let me get back to doing my singles?
Well, you're always waiting to see. I mean, look, when you step up the bat, you're kind of aiming for the same thing anyway, right? I mean, hey, this is a single, I'll take it. If it's double, I'll take a triple, I'll take it. But I get the Grand Slam too. You just don't always control when it happens because you don't always get up the bat when the bases are loaded. So I make sure I hit no matter what. I want to get those hits, and then sometimes, I want to strive for the bigger deals. It's interesting though. I think the number one way it impacts me is when she initially came in at that low of a price, I didn't technically need to negotiate anything. It was already a deal as it was, right from, hey, ma'am, how much you asking? And she gives a price. And yet I still needed to push her lower, which is counterintuitive to a lot of people. Like, what, are you being greedy? No, I'm not being greedy. If she's asking, 100,000, I want to get in the thing for, 95, but that's because I'm offering $91,579, tying back to, when we talked about negotiation. I didn't need that extra $5,000 drop, but I did need her to fight for her price and to bring me up off of mine. That way she was locked in the deal. So that's a lesson that I always keep in my mind when I'm looking at deals. Don't be afraid to go low. They just might say yes.
Yep. No, it's those are all good points. And, not only this episode, but the episode from a few weeks ago, there's just the negotiating tips and the reminders of, doing the basics and going through. And too many people get caught up. Oh, I know what I'm doing. And just, all right, I'll make 20, keep it moving. I'll make 10, keep it moving. Whereas, if you spend a little more time, energy, and effort doing the block and tackle, it'll perform better for you. So it's been really, really good reminders on both these episodes. Tom, with that being said, where's the best place people can find you on the internet? They want to learn more about what you're doing.
Go to tomzeeb.com, TOM, Z as in zebra, EEB as in boy.com. If you put a / after that and put the word gifts, I've got a number of free gifts for you, different trainings on negotiation and marketing, the key core skills.
Okay, sweet. We'll get all that in the show notes, guys. If you got any value out of this, Tom's just a real estate investor like the rest of us, sharing his stories. So the best compliment we can give him is sharing the show. Tom, we appreciate you. And guys, we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. Do us a favor and like, comment, and share our broadcast. It helps the algorithm and helps us spread the word too. Till next time, thank you for tuning in.